Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm gonna do like a sew along with me, I guess. I've been doing a lot of sewing lately. I've been having a lot of fun making all sorts of different things. So I thought maybe I would just do one of these little like sew with me things. This is not a sewing tutorial. I'm just gonna take you along for the ride for what I'm doing, and hope I don't mess up, you know? So today, right now, I am getting ready for a market in September, and I am trying to get everything that I cut out a bunch of stuff. So I'm trying to get all the stuff I cut out sewn, and then I can think about cutting some more stuff and making more things. I have some other ideas of things I want to make. So I've already made some like wrist wallets. I've made a bunch of book sleeves. I've made bookmarks and Kindle sleeves. So I want to make some coasters, and I do want to make some like wristlet like keychain things. So yeah, I'll make more of that kind of stuff once I'm finished with the stuff I already cut out and prepped and everything. So I'm making a small book sleeve which fits like a Kindle. I have this one that I made, and we're just making the opposite of this one today. So this one has the white fabric for the pocket and on the inside, and this black fabric on the outside. So yeah, it's gonna be super fun. So yeah, I've just been sewing away over here in my house, and the thing about this is that you're sewing on black with white thread. You gotta make sure that your lines are straight, which is not something I'm very good at. So just made a little top stitch on this one, and then I need to put then I need to put it on here. So I've already like cut everything, and I put like the fusible fleece on everything, so it's like ready to rock and roll, I guess. So before this came a lot of cutting and ironing and all that good stuff. I feel like cross stitch, you know, it's collecting patterns and actually sewing those patterns. And then with sewing, it's like mostly picking out fabric, cutting fabric, ironing fabric, and then eventually you're like, oh look, I finally made something. I feel like it's just a slow process here. All right. And I feel like because things are homemade, they don't have to be perfect, right? Like I handmade it. A machine didn't make it. It's not going to make it, like, it's not going to be perfect. Well, completely perfect, I guess, is the word. So I have these little clippies. I got them off of Amazon, and I use them for cross stitch to like fold up my fabric so it's like out of the way, but then I use them a lot with sewing. I like them better than pins just because I tend to stab myself a lot. And it came in this super creepy like tin with these like creepy children. Oh, those are ducks, but like there's creepy children on the sides. Yeah, super fun. I'm gonna make one of these for it. So I made this. It was just like a little fabric bucket. Basically, I put like all of my trash in there. I made myself a really fancy looking trash can. But I want to make another one so that I can put my clips in it. Just because the creepy children isn't really my aesthetic. You know, it's more my daughter's aesthetic. She likes like haunted dolls and things of that nature. All right, so now I'm just gonna sew the pocket onto the outside. Maybe get rid of that. I feel like it's just gonna be a video of mumbling. A lot of mumbling to myself. Ooh, too far. There we go. Oh, shit. I forgot to put my foot down. See? And like sewing is very procedural. Like you've got to do it a certain way, otherwise things are not gonna turn out the way you want, you know? Yeah, give that one a little backstitchy. You know, like you got to put the pocket in at the right time. Otherwise, you can't go back and put the pocket in the right way. You know, then you're just kind of like, okay, I have to take this apart because now it's wrong. It's fine. It's all fine. If I make one and it turns out crappy, you put it on the table and you say, if you want this crappy one, then sure, buy it. Maybe I'll be like, oh, that's one of my crappier ones. Feel free to take $1 off or something. Okay, so now I need to put the snap on. So this one has like a little snap for the pocket in the front. They're kind of hard to like unsnap sometimes. But okay, so I have my handy dandy bag for that. I know I got all dolled up to share this video with you guys. I'm like, feel like I get crafty sweats. Like, I don't know if anybody else has crafty sweats, but like while I'm crafting or sewing, I feel like I sweat profusely. I was going to take a shower, but it was like lightning and thundering. And then I was like, well, I'm going to sew a little bit, so I might as well just wait. Get all gross again anyways. All right. So the way this thing works is like you have 4 pieces. So you have 2 of this piece with a little like stabby bit. And then you've got 2 other little pieces that are little pieces. And then, like I said, this is not a tutorial. And then you have this little pokey thing. If I can get the rubber thing off of it. Okay. Then try to find the middle-ish of my thing here. That's middle-ish right there. All right, so once I find the middle, then I can just stab this through like so. And then I put, so you want like the flat side on the outside. And then you put one of these little insides Yeah. And then you have this, I have this clamp thing, and you put that on it. Ooh. And then you smash it, and then it's on there. It just basically flattens the pokey stick, the pokey part. It just flattens it so that it stays on. And then you can do the other one. So now this flat side is going to be hidden inside of the thing, inside of the sleeve, and the lining, you won't see it. All right, this one's a little more difficult to like squish all of this down and make sure you're not squeezing like the fabric in it. Over here, making things. Okay, so the next part is the part in which I injure myself most of the time. And that is putting the elastic on. So there's like a little elastic part up here, and then it goes around and like hooks onto this button. So if you have something in there, it's not just gonna like fall out. So these are hard to put on. First of all, you gotta find the center, which is always difficult. Okay, there's my center. Put it there. And then I feel like what has been helping me the most is taking a pin and pinning it. Nope, not like that. Pinning it down. Ow. This is why I don't like pins. And pinning it down so it's like pinned like that, because the hardest part is keeping the like elastic together when you're trying to sew it. But I'm actually gonna, do I want to move it down or do I want to move it up? Bring this down a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna move it up just a smidge, just because I want to sew further down than that. All right. And the tutorial I watched for this, they said put like the elastic end that's like where it connects, you know, where it's glued together. That part should be the part that gets cut off, because then it can't snap on you and break. That's, she called it the weakest part. All right, so before I figured out the like pin trick to hold it down, I was just like holding my finger underneath my sewing machine, and like the part that has the needle just like smash my finger. So yeah, I've learned. I've lived and I've learned. So yeah, I just go back and forth on that a bunch, because then it's nice and secure. I had to change up the angle on the camera because I feel like this is a little bit better, but it's like upside down on my computer if I look over there. So I'm trying to try not to look over there, because that'll just give me vertigo. So, my husband called me. We're trying to figure out if I can go with him to Ireland and Scotland in September, which probably is not happening because the flights are expensive. They're really cheap to go there, but they're really expensive to come back. So anyway, so next on our adventure here is sewing this button on. So I have like these little, think they're made with coconut shells. Buttons. That I got. Just like, they got like a little flower on them. They're super cute. Anyway, I hand sew these on. I know that like your sewing machine can do a button, but I don't. This isn't like a standard button. So anyway, this is also a part that is a pain in the ass. So I try to measure it so that it's even with my elastic, because it yeah, it definitely does not look good if you have it like trying to pull it across and like over and loop it, and it's just like way off to the side. So here we go. And like I said, this is like one of the biggest pains in the butt of all the things that we're doing here. Alright, I just want to tie a knot in the back just to make sure it is nice and secure. My husband's going to Ireland and Glasgow. He's going to Dublin and Glasgow. And I really want to go with him. He's going for work. And I would just be going for fun. Well, he's going to Glasgow for work and Ireland is fun. But I want to go 100% for fun. And yeah. I was looking at the flights that he got booked for him, and his flights are like I said, it's cheap to get there, but getting home is like, the flight that he's on is like $3,000 one way, just one way. That's insane. I've paid less than that to go to like Thailand. Really anywhere. I've never paid that much for a plane ticket in my life. In 2004, we did get to go to the Olympics in Athens, but my dad knows this guy from China who's like freaking loaded, and he paid for everything. So I'm sure that flight was a $3,000 flight. I didn't have to pay for it. Because we flew like business class. I've never, ever, I don't even think I've flown first class. So, yeah. Okay, just do like one more roundabout on here. Then I'll tie it off. So, yeah, it's important to do these things before you start sewing it all together so that you don't see how the magic happens behind the scenes. And if you hear any screaming or shouting, it's just my daughter. She's playing online games with her cousin and friend. So that's fun for them. It's not so fun for me. There's a lot of yelling involved. She got to stay home the other night by herself, and she was like, it was nice. I could scream at my video games and no one was there to like tell me I was being annoying. Okay, and then before I sew it together, I want to cut off the little extra tabby tab. So, where are my scissors? I have fabric scissors, but usually I use different ones. This is fine. It's fabric, right? All right. So snip off the little extra just so it's not like inside the bag, like, wreaking havoc. All right. And then it's time to line this all up best that I can. This is like super not right at the top, but okay. That's fine. We can trim the top. That's not as important as the bottom matching up. Like I said, I'm not very good at the whole like sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm like, sure. I don't know what a 1/4 inch looks like, but like I kind of have gotten a better gauge on it since I've been sewing. Like I've learned, but it's still like, huh, what? All right. Yes, I want to do it this way. I want to put them right sides together. I'm going to sew them, and then I'm going to flip it right side out. That is the other thing, like right sides and wrong sides. I have definitely like sewn one of these together and then like flipped it through and realized that like I made my mom one, and I don't even know how I did it, but like one of the buttons, one of the snaps was on like the back panel. Like I don't even know how it happened. Excuse me. It's just one of those things, you know? All right. So now we are going to sew along the edge. I'm like falling off my chair. Okay. Okay. This time I'm going to give it a little back stitching. Another thing I've learned is that you gotta like stitch on the inside of the seam that you made when you put the pocket on. Otherwise, when you flip it out, those seams show. So, yeah. I've been learning. It can learn. I really like this fabric of these bags, but like I have learned that this type of product, this type of project with this type of fabric is not a good choice, because like if you cut it wrong or if you sew it crooked, it's gonna show. It's gonna look a little wonky. All right, so I have a little extra on this side that I'm just gonna trim off because I can't sew a straight line. So we can just trim, trim, trim. There we go. And then the thing I always forget to do is trim the corners. Again, it's just something that like saves on the bulk of the project so that your seams aren't like super bulgy. Like, I don't think it makes that big of a difference with this to like forget it. It's not that big of a deal, but for some other projects, it's like, ooh, I didn't cut the corners out. I can tell. All right, so we turn this right side out. Then you gotta poke out the corners, which I have a handy dandy chopstick. I don't have a point turner, which is like just a tool that you use to like push your corners out so that they're nice and sharp. So like there's an actual tool, but people are just like, you can use a chopstick. So that's what I'm using. It's been fine. Sweet. So now I have the outside of my little bag done. Now I get to do the inside. Here I go. All right, again, I have to remember how I do this. I think I want to do right sides together. And then I put this in there and I pull it through. So yeah, I think it's right sides together. I don't know. I have like 16,000 sticky notes that tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. Here we go. Here we go. It's a bookmark, book sleeve, lining, right sides together, leave opening. Notes are very important to me. I use them a lot. I'm one of those people where like if I write it down, I remember a lot better than if I just hear it or see it. I definitely remember things better when I see it. But I'm like a learn by doing kind of person. So like sometimes things don't make sense until I'm like actually like doing the thing. And then I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing there. Oh, I don't think so. Hey. No, it's okay. It's okay. Penny, go lay down. It's nobody. My husband's been waiting all weekend for a mix for one of his hip hop dances, and he finally got it this morning. And so now he has to spend the whole day at the studio choreographing and then putting it on the kids. So, yeah. Okay. So I like to do the pins on this one to mark like where I want my hole to be at the bottom for turning. Mostly because I feel like it just reminds me that I'm supposed to be leaving a hole because it's different from the clips. You're like, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to do that. So, beautiful. Okay. Okay. So now I can sew around this one. Sometimes this sewing machine is just like sometimes it goes to 0 to 60 really fast. So I end up doing this and it's like super slow because I don't have a way to like change the speed. I know like a lot of sewing machines, they have like a speed thing that will make it so it doesn't go too fast, but this does not have it. So sometimes I just have this like moment of like, okay, you can do it. Okay. And then just pull it down to like there. Pull this out. I know you can't really see what I'm doing, but I figured this would be like a better life angle to talk to you guys while I do this. All right. Always backstitch your turning hole, because otherwise it'll fall apart while you're trying to turn it. Another lesson I have learned. Usually I'm like not listening to like an audiobook or music or anything when I'm doing this, because it's like, I don't know, I have to focus a little bit more, I guess. There's math involved, you know. I have to think about things a little bit more. I have to remember to put a hole in the bottom of my bag. Right. Okay, so we have that sewn together. Now we're going to stick this inside of this. Maybe. Come on, buddy, you can do it. All right. So once it's in there, then it's time to line up the top. So like I nest the seams together in there so that they lay nice and flat. And like sewing and quilting and everything, that's all a big thing. They're always like, oh, nest your seams, nest your seams. I'm like, yes, I will. So for some reason, one of my things is like a 1/4 inch longer than the others. I don't know what happened, but we'll just trim that part off if we need to. All right, so I clipped it all in, and now it's time to sew it. So I'm going to take off my little arm thing. And then this just barely fits around my arm here. Yeah. I like to start on a seam. And come on. There we go. All right. And then when I'm sewing around this, I have to kind of like watch out for where the button is, because sometimes it pushes it kind of out of the way. See the button, oh, this is the elastic, gosh. Right there, and just kind of get it over the hump. See, now I'm getting towards the button, but I think it's pretty good. Yeah, it's definitely far enough away. And now, truth. That they do not match at all, but it's fine. Yeah, I don't have like an automatic thread cutter or anything super fancy on this. On my sewing machine, it's pretty basic. I mean, it's not totally basic. It does have a lot of like stitches that I can do with it, and I think, oh no, that's the other one. The one my mom has. That one does like letters. You can embroider letters on it and stuff, but this one's just like straight, what up? So, okay. Now, cut the corners. Trim the corners, I guess I should say. You don't want to trim them too close because you don't want to poke a hole in there. Okay, now this is when you get to birth your project into the world. Oh, everything goes through the turning hole. And this is why you backstitch your turning hole, so that you can be a little aggressive with it. And it's not going to rip your seam. Ta-da! Okay, so now I want to pop the corners out of my lining, even though they're just gonna go back the other way. It helps. All right, and then since I have this little hole at the bottom, I'm gonna sew my hole shut. With just a little itty bitty seam. See? So then it's like this little seam in here, but it's like, that's the bottom of the inside of the bag. So like you can see it, but it's not like bothersome, I don't think. I mean, maybe if I spent, you know, $100 on this, yeah, I'd be like, seriously, you can't hide the seam for me. There is a way that you can do it with like an invisible ladder stitch, but I don't know how to do that stitch. I just know what it's called, and I haven't tried, so just gonna roll with it. Okay, so now can stuff the lining. I'll check this, make sure I did this good. Oh, it's a good idea to check that you close the lining. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm gonna shove it down in there. I'm maybe gonna shove it. It's like all weird down there. All right. Roll this up a little bit. thread. Okay, so then I just kind of roll this down so that it's all nice and laying nice on the inside. And then it's like the lining's kind of rolled to the inside a little bit. And then I'm going to go iron this top part just because it makes it easier to do the top stitch when I'm ready to do that afterwards. It just makes it like everything stay in place nicely. So I will be right back. Okay, so I ironed my edges just to make it a little easier for myself to sew them. And I like to start at a seam, except for I definitely sewed the seam crooked. And you can tell. Do a little back stitching. Okay. And there we go. It's done. The elastic matches up pretty good with the button, and yeah. The inside looks nice. Just this seam at the top is a little sloppy. Otherwise, it looks great. So another one done. I have fabric to cut out, or fabric cut out, that's these same ones, but the larger size, because that one holds like an iPad. So these ones are like, they get cut 8.5 by 6.5, so they end up like 8 by 6, and then the other ones are 11.5 by 9.5, I think. I don't know. Yeah, so there it is. Sewed a cute little Kindle sleeve with me, so thanks for doing that. And yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this, and maybe I will do a few more. I have lots of other things that I've been sewing, so yeah, let me know if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more, or you want to see my cross-stitching updates and maybe some of my sewing updates, make sure you subscribe to my channel and leave a like.